All right, what is up, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Today we are checking out the Crazy Tube Circuit's Sidekick Junior. This is a multi-effect pedal in that you can do reverb, modulation, and delay all in the same box. This thing covers a ton of sonic ground. If you love the 80s, you're going to love this pedal. But also, what I did in that performance, I wouldn't consider it totally 80s, but this pedal totally nails that. But I don't think you have to just think 80s when you're using this pedal. And we can get into all that in the demo. Now, it is called the Sidekick Junior. I'm assuming that's because there's a senior version. This one obviously is a more compact version. If you want to check out what's on the original Sidekick, the big brother to this pedal, go to the site and see what's going on. I'm not familiar with that pedal, so I'm just going to kind of stick to the features on this. So let's get right into what's going on with this pedal. As I mentioned, it's reverb, delay, and modulation in the same pedal. So if you look at the reverb side of the pedal, which is on the left, that section allows for 6 different reverb algorithms via 2 banks. So you have a mix control and you have an excite control. The excite control does different things depending on what algorithm you're using, but we'll get into that in the mix and the demo. And the mix control obviously does what you think it does. It's more or less verb. This toggle switch in the center here allows you to choose between the different algorithms depending on the bank you're in. So if you're in bank A, you can choose between a hall, a spring, or a plate. If you're in bank B, you can choose between a shimmer, another one called exciter in the center, or a gated reverb. So we'll get into all that in the demo. You have your foot switch for the reverb specifically on the bottom here. The next one in the center, that's the delay. Now this one allows you to choose between 2 different delays. You can choose between either digital or tape via this push button on the bottom. And the controls are as follows. More is basically your delay level. Tail is your feedback essentially. And then time is the delay time. You can go anywhere from 40 to 800 milliseconds on either side with this delay. And this is the switch for the delay. It's on the right, and I'll get into how you can turn the modulation on and off. There's a couple different ways. So all the way on the right here is the modulation. It allows you to choose between 3 different algorithms. So you can choose between dimension, which is one of my favorite style choruses. In the center is flanger, and then to the left is ensemble, which is a really cool, that's like a, standard in my book. I don't mean standard like me. I mean, it's like the standard, really, really cool vintage sounding chorus. We can get into all that in the demo. You have a depth control and a speed control. Now this switch on the bottom, this 3-way switch, allows you to assign the modulation to turn on with either the reverb or the delay. So you can assign it. Now, if you want to have control over all 3, there's an optional switch you can buy. It's this guy right here. And that's what I used in the demo so that I could independently turn all of these on or off by themselves. And you would plug that in on the side here. And that just kind of raised the capability. I mean, there's a lot of players that really do are perfectly fine with like just turning on the delay and having modulation come on with that. But, that's to each his or her own. But that's how that works if you want to access all 3 settings. This pedal is true bypass, except for the reverb. There's a toggle switch in there that allows you to change that. So if you want, I guess, I'm assuming you would want the reverb to maybe trail. That's why you would employ that. Otherwise, I'm going to be demoing it in stock form. And once again, like I said, very compact, very pedal board friendly with the jacks on the top of the pedal. And then, of course, there's your 9-volt DC input. So yeah, let's give this thing a spin. It is the Crazy Tube Circuits Sidekick Junior. Okay, let's check this thing out. Here's just the guitar into the amp. And here is the Sidekick Junior. Okay, just noodling around there, kind of messing around with some of the different settings. Obviously, I am employing that switch that can be plugged into the side so that I can turn each of these guys on individually. So the reverb, delay, and the modulation can all be turned on individually. If I didn't have this switch, I could assign the modulation to turn on, as I mentioned in the talking points, to either the reverb or the delay. Let's just start with the reverb, and I'll try and quickly go through the sounds and the different banks. So let's start in bank A, and we'll start with that hall sound, which is what I used for that kind of opening. That's what I used, and I thought it sounded really cool. If I turn this Excite all the way up, obviously way longer, we can shorten it. The next setting, as I move the toggle switch within that bank, is Spring. It's pretty good. I like it. It kind of has this kind of taper off of the top end. But I think it sounds cool. It's, you know, it's a little bit, I guess, maybe darker or slightly kind of dampened sounding, but that's the Spring. Let's check out the plate. Plate sounds cool. It's maybe just a little bit brighter plate. But it sounds good because, you know, darker verbs are cool. It just depends on what you're using them for. But in general, they tend to get lost, especially within a mix or even if you're just playing live. Okay, so those are the three in that bank. Let's go back. I'm going to switch to bank A, and we'll check out the shimmer setting. I'm keeping everything fairly hot, obviously, so you can hear the effect. So that's the effect that I used. You know, so it's just got this shimmery kind of octave up thing going. That's what I used for the that pass, you know, on the kind of high guitar in that performance. I really like how this sounds, especially if I turn the volume back up. Okay, in the center is called Excite. Pretty cool. It's like a pre-delayed, almost hall to me. So as you turn that Excite down, there's less pre-delay. It's pretty apparent. As you start turning it up, longer verb, pre-delay. And then last but not least is the gated verb. Does exactly what it's supposed to. It gates. So, you know, think, see if I can get it to work. Something like that, but I like gated reverbs for that. I mean, I'm used to gated reverbs like on a snare drum in the 80s, you know? But it does sound really cool. It's a cool effect, especially for, you know... It's great for that. Okay, so there's the reverb. Let's check out the delay. Now, there's two types of delays. We'll start with the digital delay, so I can toggle between the two. So I'll go ahead and turn that on with this switch. So right now, we're doing the digital delay. I think I said that. Nice sounding delay. I get a little worried. I'm one of those guys that really wants a tone control on my delay, but this one, as far as like a digital delay, it's not too bright, but it's also not too dark. Sometimes, you know, a darker delay will just get lost. But if it's super bright, that can be problematic, especially on solo tones. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Cool. So that's how it sounded with the with everything maxed, you know, as far as the tails or repeats. So it will go into that kind of oscillation thing. Okay, so that's how that sounds. Let's switch to the tape delay. It's definitely richer sounding. You know, because obviously on a pedal like this, you only have so much control. Obviously, you're trying to keep it compact, so you can't have like a tone control and modulation control and you know, depth and rate and all that stuff. So I think it's, in my humble opinion, dialed really nicely. Okay, so cool. That is the delay. Now I'm going to turn on the modulation. Now the modulation, you can choose between dimension C. All right, well, it's just called dimension, so that's what we're going to call it. Dimension, flanger, or ensemble. I'm really fond when I saw the dimension toggle, you know, choice. I thought I was immediately happy. That's not it. Okay, so here's the depth all the way up. The speed is all the way up as well right now on the dimensions choice. Depth all the way off. Depth all the way up. Speed off. Speed all the way up. Now for me, I prefer just the speed dimed on it, and really the depth as well. So that sounds cool. Let's switch to the flanger, the flanger. So I've got the depth all the way up. Speed all the way up. Speed all the way down. So the depth is all the way up right now. I'll put the speed about center. So I like the depth control really anywhere from about noon to all the way up. Let's check out the ensemble, which is another really cool algorithm, whatever you want to call it, thingy from the past. Yeah, to me, the ensemble and the dimension are just really iconic, just cool sounding, especially for the 80s thing. I kind of alluded to that a little bit when I was just kind of noodling. But yeah, both of those are so good for that. It's pretty lush sounding, and still same thing stands for that depth control. Anywhere from noon on is kind of dialed to choice, but I really like, once again, you don't have a ton of choice here as far as changing a bunch of different stuff. You don't have like a feedback or maybe a milliseconds on the delays to have things kind of spread out. So I feel like the way it's set up is really nice sounding. Okay, cool. So that is the Sidekick Junior. If you've got any other questions about it, go to the Crazy Tube Circuits website. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you next time.